Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dychronic, host on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 PvP specials in Destiny 2. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Skip all that intro stuff, we'll talk about that later. As you can see on screen right now, this is my spreadsheet. If you don't know, I make these spreadsheets for all of my top 10 videos, and if you want to get access to that, just head over to my Discord server, link in the description down below, in the channel #SpreadsheetStocks. And if you haven't seen my spreadsheets before, it gives you a lot of great information that you may want to know about these weapons, how to get certain ritual quest weapon, exotic quest weapons, information about their catalysts, what my recommendations for legendary weapons, and so on and so forth. Everything that you can see on screen is on the dock. And so what we're going to do in this video, instead of just go over the top 10, because if you want to know what the top 10, it's on screen right now. It's really not that complicated. But the reasons why you'd use certain top 10s over other top 10s, the reasons why certain archetypes are performing better than other archetypes, are going to be more important. So we're going to go through each class of weapon and then break down which is the best of the best. First up, I wanted to talk about the trace rifles, which are pretty much the same as they always have been. They're kind of like special ammo versions of auto rifles, and if you liked Gnawing Hunger back in Season of the Arrivals, these actually have the same time to kill that Gnawing Hunger used to do, maybe a slight bit faster, considering they use special ammo and they're very much like an auto rifle. And obviously this season, Ager's Scepter is going to be that new kinetic slot trace rifle, which does do like a 0.3 something time to kill whenever you get the catalyst and drain your super with it, but obviously you have to get the catalyst after getting the weapon, and then of course draining the super may be better to use the super. For the most part, most people like them one-shot special weapons anyways. After that, I wanted to talk briefly about Eriana's and the linear fusion rifles. Eriana's Vow, obviously the same as it ever has been, usually used in a wombo combo, you know, combine that with a bow or a hand cannon with higher damage. However, I guess an indirect nerf, obviously with the change to quick draw and certain quick drawing exotics and mods, you can't swap nearly as fast with Eriana's outside of Lucky Pants. And for the linear fusion rifles, obviously they are going to be the charge time snipers with a little bit better aim assistance at close range, with a new one in the form of Loren's Driver, which doesn't really have a huge place in PvP right now, outside of, you know, used to be able to see enemies through walls, which you can't really do that anymore. And again, the main premise is that they're charge time snipers, and the higher skill people will just use snipers. After that, let's talk about the grenade launchers. Now the grenade launchers actually fell off quite a bit. The legendaries used to be in the top 10. I think they were at like 6th place in my top 10 last season, but the nerf to them this season, where they reduced the blast radius and the blast radius damage while giving it more PvE damage, obviously was a direct and big nerf in PvP. That's not to say that they're bad, they're just not as good as they were before, and with the Horde is the only big survivor here, because again, a lot more Trials play, a lot more Stag and a Rift play with the Horde has become a little bit better. Following that, let's talk about the fusion rifles. Now the fusion rifles are actually kind of exciting if you're a guy like me. I've always liked fusion rifles. I've never really been good at the fast twitch shooting of shotguns, and fusion rifles, specifically the precision frames, have been doing incredibly well this season. Firstly, obviously there were a bunch of different changes. They kind of equalized a lot of the different buffs to range across the board, and they spread out the fusion rifles a little bit more. Rapid fires got a little bit faster charging, the high impact got a little slower charging, and they made the bolts 9 and 5 respectively, and the rest of them stayed at 7. And the reason why I've chosen the precision is it just feels the most consistent with the least number of bolts and the least charge time. Just kind of the best of all different worlds. Rapid fire is a little too fast and you need too many bolts to actually get a kill, and the high impact frames a little too slow and don't have that much of a range bonus over the precision frames, which inherently have, you guessed it, really good precision. When it comes to the different exotics, Bastion has been nerfed quite a few times, you just don't see it nearly as much. Telesto is a decent option with a lot more range because of its explosive capability. Merciless is a PvE weapon, and Jotun is the same as it always has. It's been the Titan weapon. I'm a Titan man, I can vouch for it. Following that, we get into a big category here. We have the snipers. Now, pretty much all the different archetypes of snipers are still very usable in the current meta. Some of the numbers have slightly changed because of the moving around with the shotguns, but for the most part, the same as they always have been. If you like snipers, you like aiming down lanes, if you like Trials of Osiris, these are still going to be great options. We did get a few new entries with Shepherd's Walk and the Long Walk. When it comes to the best of the best, I still like the adaptive frames. They're the best intersection of handling, stability, of range, of perk options, availability. We have kinetic and energy options across the board. Obviously, Eye of Soul being a little bit weird because it was Trials of Osiris and took a lot of doing, but now we have Shepherd's Watch, which makes it a lot easier to get, which can get the no distractions opening shot or snapshot. A lot of great stuff on it. And Far Future is not part of this because it doesn't have anything to help with your aim down sights like Snapshot, which is the go-to perk on snipers. Following that, we have these 72 RPM snipers, which have a lot more range, sometimes a bit more zoom, may feel a bit more comfortable at range because of that zoom, because zoom is kind of tied to aim assistance, and sometimes you can even get a one-shot body shot. If you're standing in Empowering Rift as a Warlock, you can one-shot body anyone under 6 or 5 resilience in the Crucible, which is pretty nice. And we did get a new one this season, the Long Walk in Prophecy, with some pretty good perks. And one thing I want to highlight with snipers is that the zoom level is very important. First of all, having a shorter zoom means you can see more, but there's less aim assistance. Having a longer zoom means you can get better aim assistance, but you may not be that great at mid-range. I think most people really like the 45 to 50 zone, and it's sometimes up to you. And the final ones are going to be the 140 RPM snipers. Now, generally, they're all about the same. Cloudstrike doesn't have snapshot, but it does have that lightning effect, which is going to be, again, better in Trials of Osiris as people group up more and do more of that stag rift stuff. So Cloudstrike's been a little bit better because of that. And the rest of them are the same as they always have. They cannot two-shot to the body unless you're playing Iron Banner against a lower level of target, and they shoot really fast with good aim assistance and really fast movement speed across the board. And finally, we have the shotguns, which are going to be the best of the best when it comes to PvP specials, as they're very easy to use. They one-shot, there's a lot of availability, and a lot of people have been really liking the new entries. When it comes to the best of the best, these slugs have actually been dominating ever since we started getting nerfs to other shotgun archetypes, i.e. the aggressive frames, and frankly, we've been getting more and more used to these different slug options. We've started to use them more, and we started to get more out of them. When it comes down to it though, Chaperone is better than the rest of them by a pretty significant margin. First of all, having just better range, having better stats in a lot of different ways, including aim assistance, and being able to double that range on top of a bit of extra range with precision damage with road burn. Truly above and beyond every other slug in the game. However, after that, we have the rest of the slugs, including Duality, which obviously has that versatility, but the other legendary options have different perk options, including things like Quick Draw and Opening Shot that Duality cannot have. But Duality is a pretty decent alternative to Chaperone for the energy slot. And of course, the rest of them are going to be legendary options in kinetics and energy just across the board. Following that is going to be all of the lightweight frame shotguns, which are a great intersection of mobility, of fire rate, of range for one-shot potential, availability for kinetic and energies, and I've also lumped in the Fract Assist in with that, even though it is a precision buckshot. None of the other precision buckshots are nearly on the level of Fract Assist, and they're definitely not nearly as available as Fract Assist, and not nearly the greatness of perks as Fract Assist. I don't know how to say this, bro, but Quick Draw Opening Shot is just incredible, and it definitely deserves a very top 3 spot, so I lumped it in with the lightweight frames. And when it comes down to the lightweight frames, we have a lot of great options. Reese Walker has that Iron Reach potential for nearly maxed out range, but obviously a lot harder to get. And we have a lot of great energy options as well. And the last thing I'll say about this is that you most likely need Full Choke. Having Full Choke on a lightweight really makes a huge difference. After that, at number 5, we have all of the aggressive frames. Now, I want to say very clearly and very plainly, aggressive frames are still really good. They're just not nearly as dominating as they used to be. When it comes to the different ones, we also have a new one, a Sudden Death, which comes in with Elemental Capacitor, with Arc can basically max out your handling, which is a very popular option a lot of people are going for. And of course, we have Fellamenter's Lie, which is from the archive, and you don't need an exotic cipher or any of those Spoils of Conquest, making it a very easy weapon to get with incredible perks. And finally, for the rest of them, Toil and Trouble and the Comedian don't have the best PvP perks or the best PvP stats, so I have removed them from the grouping. And finally, the rest of the Precision Buckshot frames and the Rapid Fire frames just don't really feel like they fit the meta nearly as well, or they're not nearly as available as some of the other options. And then the exotics, Fourth Horseman and Lord of Wolves, not really cutting it. Whew, that was a big one. A big thank you for my buddies for helping me make the spreadsheet, as well as all the footage on screen right now. Links to their Twitch in the description down below. They are truly a huge help to the video. And again, a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Truly, without their help, I would not be able to make these spreadsheets. They take 20 to 10 hours, it's been a long day, 10 to 20 hours every single week. And if I didn't have support from Patreon, I'd have to get a part-time job, and I wouldn't be able to make the spreadsheets. So if you want to see these continue, please consider checking it out. Link in the description down below. And specifically, a big thank you to Mom and Dad, Luco, Dr. Strange, Kelly Ellen, Joe Smith, Monday, Sabakmanis, Raymond Shunning, Panther, Casey Reagan for the support on Patreon. And that's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.